Like, a disaster movie, for me, like, a lot of people probably think epic movie and Meet the Spartans is worse than disaster movie. For me, disaster movie is like a particular brand of bad. Because the way I always remember the film is that the main characters just start the film and just kind of move from scene to scene to scene, from setting to setting, just kind of purposefully moving from one place to another to meet the next reference.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're in my house and we wake up and the first thing we do is make a Flava Flav reference and make a High School Musical reference, and then we change settings, we change scenes, and we change to... No, that's an epic movie.
Oh, that's epic. They're both terrible.
Yeah. Both very, very terrible and bland, and all the characters are the same, so it's perfectly natural to get the two confused. And in disaster movie, it's like you go from one setting where it's referencing High School Musical and the movie Wanted and all these other films, and then it changes settings, goes to the next setting, and all of a sudden
jokes.
You're talking about Alvin and the Chipmunks, Incredible Hulk, and all this other crap. And I keep thinking about the film as just all it is the encapsulation of any and everything that came out in 2008. It's kind of sickening because it's purposefully not even trying to make any kind of commentary or create any kind of humor that works within the context of the characters themselves that they're trying to parody, like Batman or Iron Man or anything like that.
Yeah, they're just there for the joke.
From what I understand, some of the creators even admitted, like flat out admitted, that they didn't even see most of the films before they included it in the parody film.
They just saw the trailer.
Exactly. And so that's all we're getting, is a parody of trailers.
It's wonderful. They're so bad.
My brain, oh god. An epic movie, it's obviously, I think disaster movie is the worst of the two, simply because they try to jam pack everything that happened in 2008 in terms of pop culture into disaster movie. But with epic movie, it's like they went out of their way to pick out what were some of the best of the like big fantasy epic films that were coming out around that time, like X-Men, Narnia. I'm pretty sure there were some Lord of the Rings references. There were definitely some Pirates of the Caribbean references. It was mainly like a Narnia-based story, though.
Yeah.
That film is terrible just because it dares. It dares to take some of those properties and even attempt to parody them as half-assed as they did.
As half-assed as they could.
And it sickens me, man. It just gets under my skin. It makes me angry. Movies like superhero movies that take
literally copy
films
and paste.
that I'm very, very fond of. Like a lot of people don't like Superman Returns. I kind of like Superman Returns.
Alright, well, you already lost me in this conversation.
I kind of like Superman Returns, but the way superhero movie parodies Superman Returns,
you don't like
is ridiculous. It's dumb. The way I hate the Fantastic Four movies too, but the way they parody the Fantastic Four movies,
they're not terrible.
It's kind of dumb.
It is kind of dumb. I like the Fantastic Four movies a little bit.
They have Tracy Morgan as Professor Xavier in superhero movie.
Not gonna lie, that sounds pretty funny.
Aside from all that, the modern era
definitely not as good.
Not as great, no. But even though Hollywood seems to think that they can just give us terrible parody films and get away with it, and think that they're going to be able to just make millions of dollars and be able to move on to the next one, and everything's going to be fine and grand with that. Well, luckily, there are actual fans and there are citizens out there that take it upon themselves to...
You're just talking about you at this point?
No, I'm talking about like everybody on YouTube.
Oh yeah, they just tear it apart.
That do parodies the right way. You know, the people like on College Humor.
Yeah.
Those people. I don't know. I haven't seen their work in a while, so I'm not going to reference anything they've done. But
all of the Batman.
A lot of people. I've always felt Doug Walker has always done good parody work, and his.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like at least the internet provides you know, a good amount of entertainment in their own forms of parody. You know, at least with all the crap Hollywood is just forcing down our throats.
They just need to get some YouTubers.
Yeah, at least we've got some creators out there that are
all of the Smosh videos,
some good TV shows,
the old
out
Smosh
there.
stuff,
Archer. You know, you know what? I forgot about this. You know what's a really great You know what's a really great parody film series?
What's that?
The Austin Powers movies.
Yeah, we didn't talk about those at all yet.
Yeah,
those are actually great.
Those are funny as
heck. I have all 3 of those. Actually,
I love those films because I was talking so much about Spy Hard earlier.
Yeah, and I was thinking of it.
You know what? Austin Powers is a great spy parody film.
Yeah,
those are amazing films.
Amazing.
I grew up with those. Interestingly, as dirty as those films are, I grew up with those a lot. Like, my parents would actually watch those, and I would walk in, and there would be, like, Mike Myers making some, like, sexual perverted joke at some lady.
And then his bare chest hair comes out.
Yeah, or like, they're doing that bit where, like, he's naked, and they're, like, there's, like, an object in the foreground, like, just barely covering up his nuts or something.
Yeah.
And my parents would be like, "Oh, you want to watch it? It's pretty funny."
Yeah. Or the scene where he like births Mini-Me from behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Looks like.
You know what? I've had some good memories with Austin Powers. That's like a movie my family, me and I, we used to watch together. So that's a really good film right there.
And that's like one of the most popular of the parodies.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. Mike Myers never really did anything after that.
You mean Shrek?
I mean Shrek, but that was
that's like what I know. I know Mike Myers more for Shrek than Austin Powers or any of his other movies.
He did Shrek, and
he's in Inglourious Bastards.
Is he?
Yeah, huh? He's like the whatever the British version of the Secretary of State is.
Okay, well, it sucks that Inglourious Bastards isn't one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies.
It's not one of the best ones, but it's a good movie.
It is good, yeah. I'm not saying that. I just have not.
It's better than
as much.
It's better than Kill Bill.
Oh, stop it!
Kill Bill is like the worst.
Stop it! No, Jackie Brown is. We'll have a complete Quentin Tarantino discussion later.
Now we have to, because you just told me Jackie Brown was worse than Kill Bill.
But anyway,
you're telling me Chris Tucker getting shot in the shot in a trunk is better than the hours and hours of Kill Bill?
Hey. I could go on about Kill Bill.
All right, let's go.
But no, okay. So anyway, do you have any other like good parody films? Because I don't want to sit here and I don't want to.
I think Princess Bride is probably.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Princess.
Yeah,
Bride.
I think Princess Bride is the best parody movie because it's not as quirky or crazy of a parody movie as like say Naked Gun.
Yeah, like it's not like something that's like super outlandishly.
It's like
not raunchy or anything.
Yeah, it's just jokes about the fantasy genre
and goofy. It's pretty goofy.
Like he's a giant that is like nice and is trying to make jokes.
Yeah,
and then there's like a drunk Spanish guy who is just trying to avenge his father. And it gets like serious.
Yeah.
Like when he kills the dude.
Some very serious moments.
Yeah, but then it's also hilarious.
Yeah, but then you can always kind of tell like there's always this underlying tone where they're not taking everything entirely seriously.
Oh, the ROUSs? Rodents of unusual size? I just saw one, but I don't think they exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
That part used to always scare my grandma.
Really?
Because she loves that movie, but she would like forget that scene was coming every time and then jump.
Like, sometimes, like, I always do get a little out of the environment they're kind of trying to create by something that might be a little goofy. Like, whenever, Wesley, whenever he's, like, paralyzed in the later half of the film, and then they have to, like,
he has to hold his head up?
Yeah. I'm just like,
my arms and legs don't work. What do you have to be upset about? If you could hold my head up, I'd answer.
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh man, that film was just great. Oh god.
Or when, if you really love somebody, you could tell that he grew a mustache and is wearing a mask on his face. Not even his whole face. Just it's covering his hair, but you could tell it's just him with like when she's going. He has eyes that look like the ocean after a storm, and then she's looking into his eyes.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And then it has one of the most quotable movies ever. Anybody want any peanuts? I'm not left-handed either.
Oh my god.
I could go on and on with the quotes from that movie.
The Princess Bride it's one of those films that I heard they might try to remake it.
If they ever do, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, like it's one of those films that should just never be remade. It is just
Fred Savage and Deadpool just had that little joke about it.
Oh god, yeah.
I laughed and then they brought Nickelback into it for some reason.
For some reason.
Great stuff. Princess Bride, definitely the #1 parody. A lot of older ones definitely stand up.
It's a really good movie, but like I'm hesitant on calling it like a parody, not because of the fact that it does. I mean, like it does things that other fantasy genre things were doing around that time. Like, but for me, it feels like it's such its own self-contained story, and the jokes
aren't really referencing anything but other old stories.
Except maybe kind of calling out some of the cliches here, but like they don't really change anything about any of these cliches. Like
they don't. They just act it out, and the parts that are supposed to be funny are funny.
Like for me,
I call it a parody simply because the book that it is based on is called a parody of the genre.
And
it's more like the older, like it's more like Blazing Saddles, where it's not really referencing anything specific.
Yeah, I can see that, because Blazing Saddles is definitely like a parody on cowboy movies.
Yeah, but which one?
I would say maybe a lot of the spaghetti westerns.
Exactly. You would just say it's a genre.
Yeah,
the same. That's the argument I would say, that Princess Bride is a parody, but it's just not. I think it's just not as ridiculous as some of the other ones. So we kind of like. It's not.
Yeah.
It does not include.
I just try to think about like some of the fantasy films that were coming out around the time, like Never-Ending Story. You know, like
one of the saddest movies.
Legend.
Yeah.
Other films like that, and I think to myself like, yeah,
those just all took themselves way too seriously.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that like I just feel like it's so unique. It's such a unique film that even compared to other parody films, it feels unique amongst them, because parody films, you can obviously tell when a parody film is a parody film, because when it's the Naked Gun and it does its jokes, you can tell that it's obviously not a world meant to be taken seriously. Rules, don't apply here.
But then in Princess Bride, sometimes they do.
Exactly.
And sometimes they don't.
Like in a parody film, in many ways it's like a Looney Tunes cartoon brought to live action. And with Princess Bride, in many ways, like I keep saying, it just feels like its own world.
It's kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where it's half and half.
That's true too.
Because there's parts of the movie where rules apply, and then there's parts where they don't. So
where it's just obviously meant. It's just there for the joke, and rules are broken for the sake of the joke, and like half dead and the mostly dead and all that crap, and so I guess it's kind of a parody film.
I think it's a movie based on parodies. On a parody book.
Yes.
I would say it's that, Austin Powers, the Shaun of the Dead, the Mel Brooks are the best of the parody genre.
Yeah, definitely.
And then under that, the Wayans, and then under that, everything else.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
It's just such a large genre.
Yeah, and
they're so different from each other.
Yeah.
There's like sub genres inside of this one genre of parody.
Yeah.
Because then there's serious parodies, semi-serious parodies, and not serious whatsoever parodies.
Deadpool, you can argue, is a superhero parody.
You could argue with that, but it's just a superhero movie that has the fourth wall broken.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of breaks all the conventional rules. Like, it's a hero that's not really a hero for the purpose of being a hero. And
it's a parody movie in and of it's like a parody of itself almost.
It's kind of it's funny because like you can always see Deadpool like winking at the camera, like it's totally a parody movie. Like
the most parody part in the entire movie, in the entire 2 movies, is when he's in the house and the X-Men are in the other room and they just close the door.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that is the hardest I've laughed in a long time. Is when I saw that in theaters.
I love it. Close.
Yeah, it is close. It's not even like they slam it or anything, or they're bringing any attention. They just go.
Attention. Yeah.
They just go. We're actually having a Dark Phoenix moment right now.
We're talking about killing Jean Grey. Right now. But like I remember the Ferris Bueller reference.
That's great.
Obviously you
that's
said
one of
Fred
the
Savage.
Yeah.
References.
See that right there is the argument that Deadpool and Princess Bride are a parody.
I guess I'm sold.
Because they both parody each other right there.
I guess so.
Just accept that Princess Bride and Deadpool are parodies.
I do. I will. I think The Princess Bride is a bit of a stretch, but I feel like it does so. I feel like it does enough to warrant the parody label.
It just happens to be the most serious at the same time.
Right.
Because there's life and death, and people die in the movie.
Yeah.
And they're actually dead. It's not like funny dead.
It might be more satire.
Yeah, it's more of a satire. It's like a satire parody.
Yeah.
On the whole fantasy
But genre. Deadpool, I feel like, is definitely... It's obviously satire, but it definitely leans more towards parody. I feel, just because
of all the fourth walls.
Not just because of the fourth walls, but also just because of the fact of like the concept behind it. Like, it's a character who has the ability to literally heal from any injury, so he can't die. So there's no consequence to his actions, so he can literally just do any goofy thing. He doesn't take anything seriously.
No.
So the movie doesn't take anything seriously.
Do you know what I think the best scene in Deadpool is?
What?
Aside from the X-Men one that I had already mentioned?
What?
At the beginning of the second one, right after Vanessa dies, spoiler, is he puts the whole bag of cocaine in his mask and just punches it.
Yeah.
Because no earthly person would ever do that.
Yeah.
And that would probably doesn't even affect him whatsoever.
Right.
But it does something, and it's hilarious.
So, I don't know, do you have any other good parody movies off the top of your head?
I don't think so. I think The Princess Bride was the last one I could pull out the hat.
Let me see here, because I'm trying to think, there's obviously, there's a lot of parody movies that might be parody, but we just, don't think of them as parody. There are a lot of films that are definitely satire, but they're not parody. The difference, I guess, is something like Watchmen.
Yeah.
Is satire.
Yeah, because it's still a DC comic.
Yeah, and it's just kind of taking the traditional norms of everything and making commentary on it.
The guy who wrote it was so mad that it got turned into a movie.
Really?
He was literally he sold the rights to Warner Brothers because Warner Brothers owns DC.
Mm-hmm.
Or when Warner Brothers bought DC, he knew that it would be changed into a movie, and he tried his hardest to make sure that it wouldn't. But since he didn't own the rights to it, and DC did at that point, he couldn't do anything about it.
Dang.
So he was just furious and said that he hated it and that it was never supposed to be put into this way. But definitely a satire.
But then something like superhero movie.
Definitely.
Is parody. Definitely supposed to be a parody. Something like, oh god, have you ever seen The Toxic Avenger?
No.
Parody. Great superhero parody.
Or Walk Hard.
Walk Hard? Okay. So that's a parody on the Johnny Cash movie.
Yeah.
Walk the Line.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had seen scenes from Walk the Line, but when I was a kid, I had watched Walk Hard, and I thought it was hilarious. And it's one of those same issues that I had with superhero movie. Years and years later, I tried to rewatch Walk Hard. I
realized it was terrible.
It was awful. It was okay. Sidetrack for a second, because I've been dying to mention this. I have been killing to mention this. Now that we're on the topic of a parody film that I have just wanted to rip open for a second. Okay, so there's a scene in Walk Hard where it's in the 70s, right? It's supposed to take place in the 70s or early 80s, and the character Dewey Cox, cause ha 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 ha, his name is funny, ha ha ha, and he has his own TV show, and he's hosting his own show.
What's the joke?
The joke here is that he's talking to one of his assistants. And they're he's like, sir, our ratings are really bad. I knew it. We're always falling behind the Incredible Hulk because the Incredible Hulk TV show was out at around that time. So naturally,
you brought it all the way back to a different video you made.
No, so naturally, because it's around that time, they have to mention it. It was so popular on TV. It was blowing everybody else out of the water.
Yeah,
but in the movie, they say that they just came out with a new episode where there's a Red Hulk. Now, the reason this makes me
is there even a Red Hulk
is because in the year the movie was made, around the time that the film was made, I believe it was somebody after Greg Pak that was writing World War Hulk. But after World War Hulk, there was a storyline that came out in modern Marvel Comics where a Red Hulk was out, and everybody in popular culture was like, who's the Red Hulk? Oh my god, it was a big deal. It was really hype.
Yeah.
So this idiot who makes this movie decides to implant modern concerns into a past film like product in a past era and try to make a joke out of it, when in reality the Incredible Hulk TV show already had an episode where there was another Hulk, and they couldn't have just made a joke on that. They had to include the Red Hulk. They had to ruin history.
While you were screaming about this, I was looking up parody satire movies specifically for the point we were making a second ago.
Yeah.
So Tropic Thunder.
Uh-huh.
Satire and war movies. Parody satire and war movies.
Mm-hmm.
Gremlins. Comedy satire.
Yeah.
A parody
I think of that as like a horror comedy.
Mm-hmm. We got Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's... okay. Full disclosure. I haven't seen it, but I hear it's really good.
Team America World Peace. The puppet movie that's terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've seen it, but I don't remember what it was about. Josie and the Pussycats. It's a movie about 3 girls. I think it's supposed to be like the other girl band movie that came out around the same time. It's just a funnier version of that.
Interesting.
Got like Cheaper by the Dozen as like a parody satire on family movies.
Okay. I can see that.
The Brady Bunch movie, because, the Brady Bunch was kind of a parody of sitcoms.
Yeah. I'd say there's a lot of horror films that have been coming out in recent years that you could say are very, very much parody related, like Zombie Beaver.
I couldn't even tell you that that's a movie.
Sharknado.
Oh yeah, the sci-fi original movies.
Yeah, like
they're kind of a parody.
They're kind of parody. Like Sharknado, you have to admit it's not satire. It's not.
Actually, we've been slept on. The best parody movie in the horror parody genre, at least, is Cabin in the Woods.
I don't think I would call that a parody.
No, that's definitely satire. A parody.
How's that parody?
Because there's like where they're all betting on. I wish it was Merman. He gets eaten by a merman.
I don't know if I would call that. Okay,
it's a parody. It's a parody satire. Horror.
I'll give you. I'm on the fence that I'm on the side that it's mainly satire, but it's definitely
parody slasher is what it's under.
But Club Dread is right next to this.
Yeah,
that is a funny movie.
Don't talk to me about that.
That's funny.
You're gonna tell me that Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, I think I haven't seen it in a while, so I'm probably I just remember it as being really funny. But I remember it as being pretty hilarious.
Let me see what it is.
Oh, Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
It's literally right down it's literally 5 more pages over.
Yeah.
That is actually great. Scream is actually in the parody genre as well. The original Scream.
I could kind of see that, because it kind of defied a lot of the different tropes that were going on. Yeah. I remember when Wes Craven.
Yeah, Wes Craven.
Yeah, it's Wes Craven.
You were going to say Wesley Snipes.
I was.
The Demolition Man sucks. I'd bring you all the way back.
No, that's not true. Wes Craven, he came out with Scream. He was trying to actually end the horror genre.
He actually ended up revamping it.
Yeah, pretty much. He basically reinvigorated all interest in the slasher films. And that's where all the other later slasher films in the early 2000s came from.
And then all of the parodies came after. That's what restarted the parody genre. So Wes Craven is really just a visionary.
Oh God, Wes Craven's basically the grandfather of parody movies.
Shout out Wes Craven.
Yep. So I guess do you have anything else to say about parody movies?
I don't think so. I think we've pretty much exhausted this. Every single if and or but of this genre.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys
love parody films as much as we do and hate them as much as we do as well.
Leave a comment in the comment section below about what's your favorite parody movie, what's the worst parody movie you've ever seen.
If we forgot any.
Yeah. The worst one I've ever seen.
It's either disaster or epic. They're both just terrible.
Oh, and Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th, which I've only seen once.
I've never seen it because that was the original name of Scary Movie.
So I think somebody literally just stole that title and made an actual movie out of it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm sorry. Before we end this, I have to mention this. Have you ever seen Stan versus Evil? Or something like that? It's like Stan Helsing. You ever seen Stan Helsing?
Don't talk to me about... Why didn't you bring this up 30 minutes ago? That is the Never mind. New worst one for me.
Oh,
Stan Helsing.
oh, that's a guilty pleasure for me.
It's
I
terrible.
hate every moment of it, but I just enjoy how bad it is.
All right.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that one. That's so bad.
I just had to make sure that one was on the record.
Yeah, because I saw it and I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to talk about it because it's so bad. I didn't want to admit that I had seen it.
Leslie Nielsen's in that one too.
Why?
He's in everything.
He only cares about jokes.
Oh man.
That was a good way to end it.
Okay, so yeah.
Please leave a comment if you've seen Stan Helsing.
Please make sure you like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll make sure to see you guys in the next one.
Peace out.
Later.